The availability of school items in the economic capital has begun gathering steam as parents rush to the market to get school bags, uniforms, and other gadgets. The businessmen say that business is not moving compared to last year. We shall be hearing from them in this newscast. And the president of the Cameroon People's Party, Edith, Walla, is calling on the government to release protesters who were picked up following the September 22 anti-Biya protest. He says that locking the protesters up mean a backward trend for democracy in Cameroon. Those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching the Primetime Newscast on STV. In a bid to make the 2019-2020 academic year COVID-19 free, the Ministries of Basic and Secondary Education are taking a plethora of measures to ensure its success, and one of them is the introduction of 2 interruptions of 10 and 11 days in the academic calendar. The move was taken during an interministerial committee meeting to prepare for the upcoming school year, as Katrin Kone reports.
A joint statement signed by the Ministers of Basic and Secondary Education for the 2020-2021 academic school year indicates that the academic year, which is divided into 3 terms, will have 2 periods of interruption lessons of 11 and 10 days each. The first interruption will be on Wednesday, the 23rd of December 2020 at 12 noon to Monday, January 4, 2020 at 7:30. The second follows on Friday, 26th March 2021 at 3:30 p.m. to Wednesday, April 6, 2021. The official exams and school competitions will take place from May 31 to July 30, 2021 for those organized by the Ministry of Basic Education, and from May 24 to August 6, 2021 for the Ministry of Secondary Education. They added that the learning and teaching activities of this school year will be for 36 weeks with the respect of National Day celebration, that is, Teachers' Day 11 February, 20 May, among others. Holidays are expected to commence on August 6 for examination classes and June 25 for other classes. The 2021-2022 next school year will be on September 6.
2020-2021 school year draws near. The demand for school items is gathering steam in commercial centers in the economic capital, Walla, as parents are rushed to make purchases. Traders, however, complain that business is slowing down compared to last year. Christel Nsoesie was at Chinatown Market at Douche Aqua and sought to know how business is unfolding.
Barely a few days to the start of the new school year, a variety of school items such as raincoats, water bottles, umbrellas, backpacks, lunch boxes, books, pens, and other school necessities can't be ignored in the market. Here at the Chinatown Market at Douche Aqua in the Douala 1 municipality, traders are eager to satisfy as many clients as they can, but sadly enough, the market is not friendly. Things are difficult. I can't tell if it's the coronavirus pandemic making things so difficult. Last year things were better. It's not easy. Times are hard. This year is very difficult. Some traders blame this decline and slow pace in business to the actual global health crisis challenge faced worldwide.
C'est fort, c'est mauvais, ça ne donne pas.
It's not easy. Coronavirus has killed all businesses. Worst, even the Chinese couldn't travel to bring goods because the borders were closed. Despite the unavailability of goods, there's no business. It's our goods of last year that we are managing with. Despite this difficult situation, some parents still manage to get the necessary school items for their children. This parent says, I am almost done with my shopping. I will go get the backpack, maybe here or elsewhere. First, I will get the lunch box, the water bottle and books and iron board since he is still small. As the days narrow down to the resumption of the 2020-2021 academic year, the demand for these basic school items are expected to be at an increase, as it is a necessity for the children in school.
The official book list for the upcoming school year is known, but some libraries do not have all the available books. The situation is blamed on the COVID-19 pandemic, and lab actors say that they are waiting for things to get into control. We have details with Christopher Sexuele.
Library owners and book vendors are still hanging on the arrival of some school textbooks in the economic capital city of Cameroon, Walla.
Le problème de la pandémie, c'est un peu mondial.
The present global health crisis has made it difficult to have the textbooks on time, but by next week, all the textbooks will be available, hopefully.
Une semaine, deux, on pourra avoir peut-être les 90% des livres, pourquoi pas.
Non, pour le moment, il n'y a pas encore d'affluence.
There is not a great turnout as of now, and the prices have not changed.
Les prix sont restés pareils.
Due to the scarcity of customers, the ordeal of some booksellers is accentuated by the current context marked by the coronavirus disease. The turnout is very slow. You can barely see parents coming. Just 2 weeks for schools to resume. Nonetheless, some parents exceptionally say they are satisfied after leaving these premises, as the official list of textbooks has not changed from last year, neither has the price. I got all the books I need, so I'm good. A few weeks away from October 5, the bells for the 2020-2021 school year are already ringing.
Now, what would be your reaction if your child contracts the COVID-19 pandemic in school? That's the question our reporter Ladonet only put to some parents in the economic capital, Douala. Their reactions are compiled in this report.
With Cameroon being at the verge of experiencing a second wave of contamination, fear still lingers in the hearts of some parents concerning the safety of their children come September 5th. Imagining a scenario where a child gets infected with the COVID-19 in school, some parents met in the city of Douala say rushing the kids to the hospital will be their first reaction. I will take the child to the hospital, and the child will stay in the hospital till he recovers. I will take the child to the hospital, get them tested, and check those around him if they weren't contaminated as well. Others will sought advice from authorities before taking any action.
Je sais que je dois demander au proviseur comment on peut faire pour.
I will ask the principal what to do to make sure the child gets well. But I know that we have medicines against COVID-19 for children and every adult. Cleda has a product. It's a curable ailment.
Pour traiter tout le monde déjà. Je sais que Cleda a sorti un produit pour traiter les gens. Donc c'est une maladie qu'on doit seulement supporter comme ça.
Nevertheless, the government and school authorities are taking all the necessary precautions ahead of the resumption day scheduled on Monday, September 5th, 2020.
The president of the Cameroon People's Party, Edith, Walla, is calling on the government to release 6 Stand Up for Cameroon members, as well as hundreds of protesters who were picked up on Tuesday, September 22, during the anti-Biya protest called by the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Edith Walla was speaking today at a press conference in Douala to give an update on the situation of those who were arrested.
The corner of Cameroon is spared. We, the people, regardless of ethnicity, must come together to put an end to this oppression and to build an equitable society. No one group is more victim than the other. Each corner of Cameroon has a tale of repression and marginalization to tell. At Stand Up for Cameroon, we ask you to put an end to all language and actions that divide and confuse us. This only serves to maintain the Biya regime in power. Across this country, let us come together as an oppressed people to initiate political transition that will put an end to our common oppression. In the immediate, Stand Up for Cameroon demands the release of Musa Bello, Sama Etienne, Mira Angoon, and Tele Membu, who were arrested on September 18, 2020, and are currently being held in New Bell prison. They committed no crime. We demand the release of all those who protested peacefully on September 22nd, 2020. Peaceful protest is not a crime. We demand the release of the president of CRN, Maurice Kamto, and all other political leaders currently under house arrest or in detention. Political action is not a crime. Let's come to protest, that we establish very, very clearly what are the objectives, what are we asking Cameroonians to protest for, what are we as an opposition working towards, and what is our overall strategy. We do not believe that this regime in place for 60 years can come down in one day. So we cannot only have protests for one day. We must have a plan of action.
Something else, leaders of trade unions in the commercial motorbike sector are calling on the government to facilitate the obtainment of driver's licenses and other requirements. The call was made by Samuel Vondo while submitting documents for the Category A driver's license over the weekend in the economic capital, Douala. Details with Katrin Kone.
The motorbike sector in Cameroon is one which many consider as unregulated, as just anyone who can afford a bike can readily become a commercial motorbike rider. In the economic capital, Douala, where there is a huge number of commercial bike riders, it becomes very difficult to identify them, and the number of riders has almost doubled as the influx of IDPs from the troubled-hit southwest and northwest regions. The riders complained of the inability to make ends meet with the daily returns from the business. Thus, they can't raise money to procure the necessary documents to ensure their smooth functioning.
La crise des régions du nord-ouest et sud-ouest ont entraîné le déplacement des populations du département du Bouri.
The crisis in the northwest and southwest regions has influenced the displacement of some of its population to Uri division. Amongst them are bike riders who have sought refuge in Douala with hope of continuing their lives and earning. This has increased the presence of bike riders in Douala. We cannot leave the IDPs to themselves. We have welcomed them, but we don't have the finances to help them acquire the driver license and other documents required by the government.
Leur permis de conduire et le reste de papiers exigés par l'État.
As such, Moto Afrique met with these commercial bike riders in Walla to sort ways of addressing their challenges and ensure these young men are working within the ambit of the law.
Consiste à aider les pouvoirs publics à assainir, réglementer et professionnaliser le secteur d'activité.
Our work consists of helping government officials in professionalizing the motorcycle sector in Cameroon, aid the bike riders syndicates because they are in charge of guiding the bike riders and help them acquire their driver license.
Des permis de conduire et tout ce que le gouvernement leur exige pour mener à bien leur activité.
All in all, the commercial bike riders are calling on urgent government intervention in the sector by giving them subsidies to enable them train and obtain their licenses, provide reflector jackets of same color with the assistance from the councils and other civil administrative services.
Dealers of used motor spare parts in the economic capital, Douala, particularly at the Kamyabasi neighborhoods, are decrying numerous taxes imposed on them by the Douala 2 Council. They are even told to pay for their number plates after fulfilling a number of conditions. Details with Ladonet Oni.
After paying for occupying public spaces, taxes on price control, dealers of motor spare parts at Kamyabasi in the Douala 2 municipality are being obliged by government to pay over 40,000 francs as taxes for their plaques. This order has come under great criticism from these inhabitants as they say the taxes are too much for them.
Et nous payons l'impôt, nous payons le TVP, nous payons encore le contrôle des prix et on revient aujourd'hui, on nous dit que nous devons payer la plaque d'immatriculation. C'est pas une plaque d'une voiture, on nous dit qu'on doit payer la plaque. Nous avons été pénalisés, 40 000 par personne par chaque boutique. Et ils ont fermé les boutiques parce qu'il fallait payer cette plaque. Ils nous disent que c'est le ministre du Commerce qui donne le degré là, qu'on doit nous sceller parce qu'on n'avait pas de plaque.
These taxes were imposed without orientating or sensitizing the population.
J'étais surpris qu'on est venu directement nous sceller par rapport à cette plaque. Pourtant, on ne nous a pas été notifié. Et puis, ça devient très mauvais parce que le Camerounais, on a du mal à comprendre parce que tout le temps, on paye les pièces. Et on paye les pièces jusqu'à la plaque publicitaire. Regardez la plaque publicitaire, simple plaque publicitaire qu'on fabrique peut-être à 10 à 15 000. Mais nous sommes obligés de payer à partir de 30 000 montants pour les pénalités. Pourtant, on ne nous a pas notifié. Pourtant, je croyais que ça devait être une campagne de sensibilisation à tout le monde, savoir qu'il faut notifier toutes les structures dont on n'a pas été notifié. Et ça nous fait mal parce qu'on paie déjà tout de papier.
The presence of the COVID-19 is leaving no business venture indifferent as these traders complain of hard times and slow business ever since the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Out of the country, the election of the African Union Commission chairperson is raising controversy. Musa Faki Mahamat is running unopposed for the top job, but critics say that he is undemocratic and the African Union is a puppet organization of France. More with the VOA.
African Union Commission Chairman Musa Faki Mahamat is running unopposed for re-election as Africa's top diplomat. But that uncontested race has provoked outrage from observers of the 55-member African Union, which they say is failing to represent the needs of the continent's 1.3 billion people. Critics of the Ethiopia-based organization are lobbying to postpone the vote at least 6 months to let more candidates come forward. The author of a petition by the Coalition of Supporters Unions of Africa says the AU did that 4 years ago, when there were only 3 candidates for that seat. He spoke to VOA via Google Hangouts.
How come that 4 years down the line, at the same time, we are having only 1 candidate, and people are telling us that that is representative enough? If 3 wasn't representative enough, how can 1 be representative enough?
Analyst Lisa Lovaudrin of the Institute for Security Studies says this vote, cast by African heads of state, not by the general population, is important.
The AU Commission chairperson also has to represent the continent on the world stage, basically, when it comes to Africa's relations with the European Union, with China, with the US, with the UN. And he has quite a lot of leeway, I would say.
That's why, says Pan-African activist Daniel Mbonu, it's critical to get a leader who truly represents the continent. He supports the petition to delay the vote. He spoke to VOA from Nairobi via Google Hangouts.
He has displayed a lot of incompetency in the organization and running of the AU, of the African Union organization. At the same time, he has been unable to address issues that are facing people of African descent around the world. And there have been allegations of massive fraud at the African Union, corruption, nepotism, and which governs the appointment of people to different positions. Over the years, we have seen that the African Union has failed to attain the objectives that it was founded on.
So if not Mohammed, then who? Critics say one candidate, the AU's former ambassador to the U.S., a Zimbabwean national, has been sidelined after she was removed from that position last year. Both critics also claim the AU has been heavily influenced by former colonial leader France. Since 2002, 4 of the 5 commission chairpersons have hailed from Francophone nations.
Just by the uproar that came around after the purported sack of Madame Arikana Chiombo-Rikpa, I would say, and my organization says, that Faki Mahamat is a failure. He is not somebody that should lead Africa for another 4 years. And we want a change. Now, come to think of it, Madame Arikana Chiombo-Rikpa herself has filed an application for nomination to become, a runner for that same position. And we have a situation where her nomination has gotten lost at the AU headquarters. And that is very, very strange.
The AU has not been able to meet in person in recent months because of the global pandemic. The petition to delay the election has gotten 16,000 signatories, Ababrese says. If granted, it would move the vote into early 2021. Anita Powell, VOA News, Johannesburg.
And that does it for the primetime newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. More news comes up at 8 p.m. in the French language. From the entire team in Walla, have a good night.